All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have our BGH Showmatch starting today. We have on the NA team TT1, Hawk, and Gypsy playing against Team Poland, which is going to be Boneth, Wolfix, and Zero. A bunch of really big names. A lot of high-level players here from the ladder. Also did really well in their previous BGH Show matches. It's going to be the same rules as always as the previous ones. We'll go over it game by game, but it's going to be the first game will be all random versus all random. Second game will be PTZ versus PTZ mirror. Third game will be all random. Fourth game, everybody picks whatever they want. And the fifth game will once again be all random. We're going to play it the full 5 games regardless of score. The winning team gets $20 per win. So potential up to $33 to each player on the winning team. All right, colors already a little bit rough. We might actually even want to consider changing the color some. Hopefully it's not too laggy as well. But we're going to do a lot of shift tab in a lot of these games, but just real quick going over the players here. In the top left corner, we have Gypsy as our Zerg. His teammate here in the top right, we have TT1 as the other Zerg, and Hawk here as Terran at 6 o'clock. So they have a really good race combination of ZZT. Typically, what you're going to see is double 9-pull and mech. TT1 is going to be a shot caller for their team. He's played a lot of BGH, so they're going to figure it out. But real quick, for Team Poland, here at 12 o'clock, we have Zero as Protoss, Boneth in the bottom right corner as Terran, and Wolfix here at 9 o'clock as their Zerg. So we got all 3 races versus ZZT. This is typically ZZT favored. Especially in the spawns can be pretty hard for Protoss here at 12 o'clock. So kind of what you typically would see is that the red team here is going to need to play relatively defensive. Yeah, this is pretty choppy looking. We actually might maybe want to change servers. We'll discuss with the players after this game. Yo, too easy. Thanks for the follow, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of chatting. Team Poland is in a voice call, and it looks like NA is not, so we might see a little bit of a chaos here. TT1 already hitting his caps lock. He's a bit of a yeller, for sure. This wall actually from Bonnet, and this is part of that inexperience. This wall is not going to be closed off. Lings absolutely can get in here on the left side. And we are going to see a bit of that. Even though these players did really well so far in the matches, there are going to be little bits of like small things that they're not going to know about, right? Some of the nuances and stuff. So that is actually part of the fun. There's going to be a lot of chaos. And a lot of like basic mistakes that they just simply don't know about. So this is something that absolutely could potentially come into play. And Bonnet might just die if they recognize this because it is double Zerg going 9-pull. And this is straight up a loss condition for Team Poland right now that Bonnet does not have a correct wall. Also, this wall from Hawk. Does this work? I don't think this works. Typically, you're going to do the wall up here with Barracks Depot here. This might be a wall, maybe. I don't think so, though. But it doesn't really matter for him. He's got the double Zerg anyway, so it's unlikely that's going to come into play. Wolfix coming out with his Lings now. This does at least make it where it's unlikely that Zero's going to die because they do have their own Zerg that went 9-pull. So Zero's just going to play defensive and have the other Lings being able to help him out a little bit. So it's a little bit of a hard hold here from Zero, and the build order is actually not quite correct because he should have 3 Zealots out right now. And if this pylon goes down, actually just prevents the Zealots from producing. But there we go, the 2 additional Zealots coming out with the Lings. And it's going to get a little bit dicey. Sorry, let me shift tab here so it's a little easier to follow. But so far it's going to be a relatively decent hold. Got the additional Lings coming out from the Zergs. I mean, they're just going to be pumping Lings nonstop while both players go mech. One of the big advantages for Hawk is that he gets to skip Marines completely, whereas Bonnet can't really comfortably skip Marines, so it's going to delay his factories quite a bit. So we have a really quick 2 factory versus the slower 2nd factory from Bonnet. And yeah, Blue starting to kind of win the fight here a little bit. And this is kind of what Wolfix needs to do a bit more, is just kind of intercepting the reinforcements more so than trying to fight it straight up, and allow Zero to kind of build up that Zealot count. So really nice pick off there from Wolfix, getting those couple Lings. Zero going to be pulling a bunch of probes to kind of help him defend. Doesn't want to lose any gateways, obviously. But this is kind of where the problem will start for red team soon, is just the vulture advantage that Hawk is going to have over Bonneth because of the double Zerg advantage. Guaranteeing that map control and guaranteeing that Hawk won't be under pressure. Zero's doing a pretty good job of holding so far. Wolfix going for a little bit of a backstab. This is pretty risky because these lings are, in theory, completely forfeit at this point. Any drone damage is nice, but it does mean that he completely concedes map control for this. Does get one drone, and there we go. 3 or 4 lings is going to go down, so only 3 lings here. Gonna have to make his own sunken as well, whereas the other Zergs technically wouldn't have to, but looks like Wolfix actually got lings into both Zerg bases, killed 2 drones, and Gypsy making a sunken, so Gypsy actually going to be way behind, even against Wolfix, but now this is where we start having the issue, right? Vulture's going to be coming out. Is 2 Vultures versus the 1 from Bonneth. He does have that as additional 3 Marines to kind of help him fight initially, so this is really smart that he's got these out on the field to help. Big fight happening here onto Zero's main, and the Zealots do get cleaned up. There's only 2 remaining Zealots trying to get a shield battery. Gateway going to go down, so he's going to cut that production in half. But they are gaining control on the other side of the map because both Zergs hard committed to Zero. This allowed the Lings to kind of meet up with the Vultures here in the middle. And 2 Vultures going to get picked off for Hawk, and this pretty much puts Bonneth in the lead now on that Vulture count. Like way in the lead, actually, and now Hawk's even gonna have to pull SCVs to try to hold this, and he's gonna take a lot of damage, and, you know, Zero's done a good enough job surviving and buying time for his team, and they're gonna pounce on this and make something happen. And this damage that Hawk is taking is huge, because the Terran is absolutely the carry in this situation. It doesn't even matter if they kill 12 o'clock if the Terran takes a lot of damage, because the 2 Zergs are going to be very, very weak. So the Zergs are going to show up here and start trying to help out. Vulture speed is done, so they should be able to micro relatively well against these Lings. And they're going to clean this up, but this is a lot of damage. It's a lot of lost mining time, a lot of dead SCVs. And this is going to make it where Bonneth's Vulture count should be able to kind of take a pretty big lead. Going to run in here and kill off a couple more SCVs. Yeah, 2 more SCVs go. Actually finds even the weakest SCV there and gets the 3rd one. And we're going to see it reflected in the supply now. Bonneth is going to be very, very far ahead in supply. Armory going to be coming down for those potential Goliath, which is great here. Looks like we did lose our Zealots, though, so got to get some probe drills here to survive. But, yeah, I'm not sure. I think maybe we stepped too far forward with the Zealots while that was happening. This kind of going to go down, too. But with the probe drill and the 1 extra Zealot coming out, he might kind of hold on. Oh my god, these Vultures getting caught here in the middle as well. And Hawk's in a lot of trouble now. Honestly, the blue team entirely in a lot of trouble. Yes, Zero went down, but like I said, losing your Terran player is not okay in this situation. And yeah, it looks like those Lings can actually fit through here. So Ling's going to get back inside. Vulture's going to start chipping away at this depot, and yeah, I think Wolfix going to come back and try to help kill this depot off to let these Vultures in. And blue team now in a lot of trouble. TT1 going to go in, call GG, and leave. Like I said, even though Zero's dead, it doesn't matter when your Terran player goes down. And Poland going to make it work. A bit of an overcommitment to the 12 o'clock Protoss, because you've really got to be covering your Terran player. He absolutely had the advantage, but he was double teamed and lost that advantage. Who was your Terran in that game who wrecked Hawk? Dude, Hawk got 2v1, man. This is what we're here for. When the egos clash, man. And there's a bit of a breakdown on NA team after the first game. It's actually not Hawk's fault this one. It's my input. I mean, he really was fighting 2v1. It's kind of what I was saying. They were overcommitting to the Zerg. Yeah, I'm not interrupting. All right, we have PTZ versus PTZ for the second game here. Gypsy going to be the Terran player for their team, Hawk the Zerg, TT1 the Protoss. Unsurprisingly, we got Wolfix here as the Terran, Bonnet as the Protoss, and Zero as the Zerg. So everybody getting their main races here for this game. Yeah, I don't know why we're lagging so much. It feels like we shouldn't be lagging. I'm actually surprised that we are lagging, because I would expect everybody here would be getting 16 turn rate together. All right. So positions, really bad for the blue team, actually, to have the isolated turn like this. It's not a whole lot better for red team, but it is slightly better because you're going to have the Zealots potentially blocking off the Zerg after the early game here, and then that can lead to a bit of an issue. Yo, Jack Lazarus, things for the follow, man. I appreciate it. So sick, how did this will get organized? I'm an organizer, man. It's what we do. Dead man, there's an overlord in my base from Gypsy, so I suspect we're going to see 9 pull from the Zergs. That being said, we do have kind of a 10 pull from Zero, and actually it's going to go 10 hatch and then 9 pull. So it's going to be very Ling heavy. He's going to have slower initial links, and he's not going to have Ling speed, so Hawk will have a bit of an advantage early with the Lings. And then if nothing happens in their favor for the blue team, then Zero's going to be able to take over with the Ling macro. Looks like both Terrans going to be going bio, so that was an important part as well. So everybody going to be doing kind of the same thing, a slightly different build order from Zerg, but everything else should be the same. We got double racks from both Terran players, 2-gate from both Protoss players, so this is all relatively standard. It's kind of a unique build from Zero, not something you'd often see on BGH. Yeah, what's up, Mazer? In a very early creep colony, actually, from Hawk, it looks like he made a few extra Lings. Did he not go over, or 9 pull, actually? This might not have been 9 pull, I wasn't really paying attention. May have been like some sort of overpull or something. Yeah, that's my bad. My bad, I should have been paying attention. Yeah, a little bit of a... I'm just so used to like 9 pull, it's like so ingrained into my brain for BGH. This is kind of what I expected. So he's not going to have that initial Ling advantage. He's going to go straight into Lair. So we're definitely going to have a big mix-up between the two Zerg players. And early Forge here from Blue Protoss, which is correct if your Zerg is making Lings normally, but because he's not going Lings, he's not going to be able to get this cannon to contain the Terran like he wants to. And I can already tell you right now, TT1 is going to be absolutely livid. Hawk in his base with his Lings right now. And TT1 going to get pushed all the way back, so this is going to completely fail. He's going to end up having to do essentially defensive cannons. We got a bunker here from Gypsy as well, so this is looking very, very heavily favored for Team Poland now. And they're actually even going to get in here and kind of get a trade. It's going to be a little bit of a Link counter here, picking out the Marines, which would be pretty nice. Even going to be able to threaten a little bit, but we haven't started any cannons here for TT1, so he's in a bit of trouble. The Lings are definitely going to have to come help him out. And yeah, TT1 going to get pushed all the way back in his base. Ling's going to be able to come help and clean this up at least. Should be able to jump on top of the Marines. And TT1 Zealot's going a little bit too far, so they're going to get tucked relatively deep behind this mineral line. So this is really nice positioning from Wolfix, and this is going to do a lot of damage. I do feel like this was avoidable. TT1 Zealots went way out of position. And now with that happening, red team's in a lot of trouble. We do have the Marines from Gypsy getting out to the middle map here and picking off a few of the Lings. And yeah, we can't jump on that quite yet as 0. And this is a lot of damage. There's no real easy way to handle this anymore. Gonna have to try and get that cannon up, and in the meantime, he's gonna be losing some probes, not being able to mine half of his mineral line. And yeah, not great for Team NA here. Gonna jump on top of this cannon as well. Really good positioning from Team Poland here with their army. Just gonna get about the best trading that they can hope for. Gonna move inside here and target down this cannon. Is gonna be able to clean up the cannon. The army is gonna be cleaned up, but this was a lot of damage onto TT1. He's gonna be way behind Boneth now. And Boneth even breaking through here onto Hawk. The sunken positioning kind of less than ideal. In the meantime, Gypsy fighting in the middle, trying to control mid. TT1 does get out in front of Wolfix's base at least to kind of like have a little bit of a soft contain, but Hawk's going to be taking a lot of damage. He's going to get a few mutas out at least in the meantime, but losing any drones when his drone count is this low going to be very, very painful. Does manage to save the Spire actually, which is nice. And Gypsy's bio kind of just trading against the heavy links here from Zero. Zero does not have any tech of his own. I'm going to try and get his own spores up, and these mutas are stuck at home defending right now, and it looks like we are once again... Did that Zealot manage to hop through? And TT1 gonna GG. Boneth gonna... Or not Boneth. Team Poland gonna go up 2-0 here. And I think we might see a little bit more heat between Hawk and TT1. Let me post the link, actually. I should have a link set up. That is something that I do legitimately need to do. And put a link. If you guys want to join the Discord and kind of keep up with some of the events and the stuff that we got going on, this is going to be the Discord. You can join as a viewer, join as a player if you're 1900 plus MMR, and yeah, just enjoy the show. This is where we kind of set everything up and run everything. Alright, for game 3, we have all random again. Real quick, going over the red team here. Team Poland, we got Wolfix spawning the top left as Protoss. We have Zero in the top right as Protoss, and Bonnet as our Zerg at 9 o'clock. Here at 12 o'clock, we have Hawk. 6 o'clock, we have TT1 as Terran. Bottom left, we have Gypsy as Zerg. So once again, it's ZZT. Much better spawns for blue team. Hawk obviously not in the best position, but this is a really good position to make sure that TT1 takes no damage with the Zerg teammate at his choke. I've seen Hawk get pretty annoyed and mad and stuff sometimes in team games. I've never seen him get mad enough that he's like... I'm sure it happens quite often. I just personally haven't seen it. I've never seen Hawk like swearing at somebody, like telling someone to F off and stuff like that. So that's new for me. I've not seen that at a Hawk before. Alright, I should have been paying attention to the pull timings. It looks like Gypsy... Is this gonna be overpull? Yeah. Okay, we're going later than overpull. So we got 9 pull out of Hawk. Or potentially overpull. Again, I really need to pay attention to this. Like I said, for me, it's just when I think of BGH, I'm so used to just everybody going 9 pull that anything different like throws me off or anything about paying attention to it. But yeah, it's gonna be definitely a much later pull here from Gypsy. 12 pull, I think it was 11 or 12 pull. Yeah, 12, 12, 11. So kind of the same thing, but it's good for Gypsy to do something like this, and this is personally what I do as well, even though most Zergs don't. When you have a teammate that's going 9 full speed and you're also Zerg, I like later pulls like this. I think it's actually really good. Yo, DeWalt, thanks for the raid, man. I appreciate it. Huge raid. Alright, we got our 9 pull Zerg players here with the links coming out right now. Going to be running to the middle of the map. Basically, these two Zergs should more or less cancel each other out. Hawk is going to have to make a Sunken in the spawn. If he doesn't make a Sunken, he kind of just dies. Because he's going to have multiple Zealots rallying into him with the Lings. And looks like Hawk wasn't paying attention there. Actually runs past the Lings. And he's going to be in a lot of trouble. There is no Sunken started still. He's got 2 Zealots with the Lings combined here. He's just now starting the creep colony, so he is in a lot of trouble already. And one drone going to go down, a couple Lings going to go down for free, and he might just be dead here straight up, guys. This Sunken, you have to make this Sunken in this kind of situation. I think he kind of misread what Gypsy was doing. I mean, I guess we're going to survive, actually. The Sunken could potentially get up the Lings following that probe. That was a huge mistake, actually. So the Sunken going to go down essentially for free. And I thought for a second he was going to be able to hold, but that was kind of a strange error from Hawk to be chasing that probe, not paying attention to what his Lings are doing. So Hawk's kind of just dead outright. Yeah, what's up, Flame? When's the Russian BGH team? You know, we got Hayak from Russia. He's also like a very strong BGH player. I don't know if there's a third one, but yeah, I think the team morale is very far down. I think Hawk is very tilted with TT1. TT1 probably feeling about the same with Hawk. So kind of ever since that first game, it's a bit of a falling apart there. And Spurs Vulture taking a lot of damage early from these Lings, and this might just be a quick 3-0 lead here for Team Poland. Or sorry, that's not Gypsy. This is TT1. Ling's going to come into the base here of Gypsy, clean up these 2 Lings and jump on top of the drones here. And yeah, I mean, Hawk can't really afford to die like that. You have to make that Sunken very early, like I said, in this matchup specifically. Especially when your Zerg says that they're not going Lings. Like, maybe if your Zerg teammate's not going Lings, you can delay the Sunken a little bit, but even then it's hard because you're shared choke with the toss and you got another toss nearby. And nice micro there from Bonnet. Going to be able to pick off 1 additional drone, so Gypsy's drone count completely in the gutter. We got the full wall off here with the cannons coming up to make it where he can survive against the Vultures. There is a pretty good Vulture count out for TT1 right now. And he is going into Armory to make those Goliath. Kind of just for anti-muta. It's a little bit hard, though, because going Goliath against Double Toss, not so great. But they're going to push into 9 o'clock here with the Lings and Vultures, just as the lair finishes here. So if they can manage to kill off a bunch of these drones, I actually would prefer that these Vultures were targeting drones right now instead of the Sunken. He could have basically cleaned up all of these drones, and Bonnet would have been in a lot of trouble. I feel like having your Vultures fire on that Sunken not really going to be worth it. I mean, Bonnet should actually have 0 drones right now. It's a bit of a crime that Bonnet is allowed to keep his drones. And all those Vultures going down too, very, very painful. Hawk gonna get eliminated. And in the meantime, what are our Protoss players doing? Looks like we're teching into goons from both players. And kind of laying some pylons here, just kind of buy time a little bit as the Spire is coming up. So Bonnet's just going to do this kind of no drone straight into Spire to try and get those meters out as quickly as possible. It does mean that Gypsy's going to have to go into an Evo chamber. and trying to get these Sunkens up. He's going to lay a bunch of mines here in the middle, which is great from TT1, and then kind of commit to this. If they can break through here and kill a bunch of these drones, would be great. TT1 targets his own vulture while getting shot or hit by the zealots there. And does this cannon get up? I mean, this cannon's still a little bit away, and there's a lot of vulture DPS here to chew through a bunch of these zealots. And I think we're very far from observers, right, from either player. Okay, the facility almost done for... which one is that? 0. But gonna be able to break through here now with the vultures. And, I mean, these two Sunkens will hold the vultures, but there's Mutas on the way right now, so we're gonna have to get that Evo chamber here from Gypsy, or he's just gonna straight up die, and I imagine that's what this is gonna be. Yeah, I think he thought they might be able to kill him before he would need to do that, but not gonna be happening. And yeah, the Overlord here getting into the middle, which is really nice by Team Poland, so help them kind of shoot through the mines. And TT1 GG's here. I actually don't know that I would have quit here, to be honest with you. I mean, it's hard, obviously, but their Zerg is very close to dead. Your Zerg is actually really strong. He has, like, a really high drone count. I actually genuinely think this is a little bit of an early GG from TT1. Alright, so the rule for this one was everybody can pick whatever they want. They're just going to pick their main races. My opinion is that ZZT or ZZP is much stronger, but they're just going to go to Comfort, which is pretty much expected, I think. But yeah, so it'll be pretty easy to keep up with the races then. We got Gypsy here at 5 o'clock as the Terran, TT1 here as Protoss in the 7 o'clock, and then at 9 o'clock we're going to have Hawk as our Zerg player. Meanwhile, on Team Poland, we got 0, Wolfix here at 3 o'clock, and Bonnet here at 6 o'clock. So, these spawns actually is about as even as it gets. It is slightly red favored, I would say, because the choke between the Zerg and Terran is much closer than these two here. You know, you got the Terran and the Terran kind of by each other, but there's going to be the Zerg that's going to be a bit closer to Terran. So I think this is slightly red team favored. Much faster for Terran to get out here with their Marines, and the Lings can meet up quicker. So there's a chance that we get a bunker out here to block Gypsy. I don't know if Team Poland will know to do this, but yeah, that'll be tight. It's a weird one, but it'll be tight. If he does... Well, no, he's going to do barracks here, so yeah, it's not going to be tight. It's actually the exact same mistake that Boneth made. The barracks has to be here, so you can do like barracks, depot, depot. Or barracks, depot. Like the barracks can be here. And the depot up here on the top corner. But surely it won't come into play. Surely it won't matter. Although we are going to get mech out of Gypsy, so typically what you would see is that the Terran's going to be able to bunker block this Terran, and then they'll have just Marine control basically on the map until tanks come out for Gypsy. So there'll be a long time before Gypsy gets out on the map, and he's most likely going to try to open Vulture, and he'll just get blocked with the Vultures. It's probably going to try to make a depot here, but it's not going to fix anything. Actually got a depot coming down here. Yeah, I think Hawk and TT1 have been playing together. Because they were like already arguing about something before the match even started, so I think they've done some shield battery 2v2s or something. Alright, so blue gonna have that early game control because Zero going a bit more for macro instead of any sort of early lane pressure and making a sunken even. So he's going to go a little bit heavier on the drones and the faster hatchery and then go into his own link. So there'll be an initial link advantage here for Hawk. And he'll also have a big speed advantage. So we'll see what kind of control blue team can get out of that on having that early advantage. If they prevent bunkers from getting up and blocking Gypsy, then it's actually going to be very, very good for the blue team. Like I said, there's going to be this kind of initial issue. Looks like Hawk's actually kind of snuck around here unseen, but there's Lings out here, and Hawk doesn't know that there's Lings out behind him right now, so he's kind of containing an uncontained Zerg. Zero doesn't even know there's a bunch of Lings here, so there is potential that Hawk gets in here and gets a lot of damage, especially the Ling speed advantage. Gets on top of the Sunken pretty quickly and clean these Lings up as they're coming out. And Zero going to run back home now, but like I said, there's no Ling speed, so it's going to be very slow, and they're going to get distracted potentially a little bit with these two Lings. But looks like a really good drone drill from Zero. Going to be able to keep him alive. Does lose a few drones. But overall, a pretty good hold from Zero. Is going to have the same drone count now, but with a Ling advantage. So right now, it is very Zero favored on that Ling count and Ling macro. T21 going to get pushed back now with the Zealot Marine push kind of coming in here. And he's going to take a lot of damage onto his Zealots. He's going to try to heal up a little bit of that shield battery, but going to get pushed back. And in the meantime, we went double add-on for Gypsy, so the Vulture is going to be a little bit slower than normal. And T21 typing while losing more Zealots instead of focusing on the survival here. And TT1 just going to go ahead and fall here. We'll probably see that GG from TT1. Vultures are out now from Gypsy. And they're going to try to maybe find some damage here onto Zero. Gypsy still want to fight it out. I respect it. I mean, TT1 is not going to completely die, actually. I mean, with these additional Zealots coming out and the Vultures coming in, he actually absolutely can stay alive. And pretty good targeting here from Gypsy. Going to try and target these Marines while running from the Zealots at the same time. Going to be able to clean up all the Marines, so really nice work from Gypsy. Also getting mines out to block the Terran player in the meantime, so Gypsy is going to have to try to multitask here, which will be kind of hard. There's cannons. But additional Vultures coming in, going to save him. So pretty nice here from Gypsy so far. Good mine hits too, actually. Cleans up one of them, the medics and a few Marines. And these two are just going to focus on arguing more so than the game. Gypsy, the only one that's really focused on trying to win. You know, he's telling TT1 things like, save your probes, I'm coming, I'll save you. He's trying to get map control while these two type to each other. Definitely a lot of bickering going on between these two. Really big Vulture count going to get down here and clean up these Zealots and get on top of this cannon. If this cannon goes down, then this pretty much means that we lose access to like half of our mineral line for a while now. So this is a really nice catch here from Gypsy. There is a big bio ball heading towards Gypsy. We're going to need to close this off and hopefully get some supply, some army out here. I don't know what we got producing. And Gypsy, it looks like 2 tanks actually is actually not exactly what you wanted here. I don't know, maybe 2 tanks is actually good here. I take it back. You know, with that bunker getting a lot of the Ling kills and big splash on top of the bio, it looks like Gypsy's actually going to be able to hold with these Lings coming in. So great hold from Gypsy while doing pretty good damage here to Bonnet at 6 o'clock. And is Gypsy going to be able to carry this game for his team? That is the question. He's doing everything he can this game. Big link count here from Hawk as well. He's been building up whereas Zero kind of lost a lot. We got a bunch of Zealots coming up here. He does have 3 Sunkens. Does Zero. We got our own tank now building for Wolfix. He's on that 4 racks production right now. The 2 tanks coming in here, going to get caught by these lings and surrounded. One tank going to go down to the mine, and the other one going to get surrounded by the lings and killed. But a lot of these lings at least going to be cleaned up. Obviously, losing the 2 tanks kind of sucks. He really wanted that for the push. If those 2 tanks had been able to combine here with the Zerg being blocked off, Wolfix absolutely would have died. So great pick there from Zero, stopping those tanks from getting inside. In the meantime, on the other side for Bonnet, we're very far away from being able to break out. He knows there's mines kind of all around his base, just kind of sitting like tight against his cannons right now while he waits for observers. So we got a bit of time before the observers come out. So it's a matter of what can Blue get done before Bonnet breaks out. Because by the time that those observers get out, he will have a pretty big Dragoon count. Hawk actually way up in supply now. We got more Sunkens coming out from Zero. He's like very afraid of getting killed here. We're on just the 6 drones from Hawk, and he's actually kind of mining very suboptimally with his drones, which is typically not something you would expect from Hawk. But here we go. Big swell of lings here jumping on top of this Terran army. Wolfix going to get absolutely cleaned up trying to jump on top of these tanks and not getting either one of them. Now, being pushed back into his main base, and there is a ton of army here. Looks like Zero just about able to break out here, but his link count is going to be very, very low. And there's no bunker here for Wolfix either, so Wolfix looking pretty dead on my screen, guys. And I think Gypsy has successfully carried his team to victory here. You know, he saved TT1, he had a strong counter onto Bonnet, and he got had a really, really big hold. Bonnet does have a shuttle out, so he's actually not even going straight to observers. He's going for Reavers and Dragoons with shuttle here. Which I think is actually a much smarter play, honestly. Get some sort of pressure done. I mean, Reavers do absolutely kill Hawk. Like, he has nothing to survive against Reaver. TT1 could also be caught off guard very, very easily. Observer does come out for Bonnet, but he starts pushing back here. But the tanks getting in a position, really nice awareness there from Gypsy being in position with his tanks to try and continue to contain contain Bonnet here. And Gypsy honestly completely running the game in this game 4. And Wolfix pretty much dead now. Zero does have a lot of link production, so he's going to be able to break through here and kind of push push TT1 back. Wolfix gets a Wraith out, just doing whatever he can for damage. I love the fighting spirit of Poland here. And honestly, like, they might still be able to bring this back. We'll see how much damage this Reaver gets done. TT1, we'll see how fast he reacts to this drop. Looks like he's not looking in time, so we're going to get a big 5 probes here initially. Another 3 there, and Bonnet, I mean, we all know Bonnet and ladder and 1v1 stuff. His Reaver control is good, so this is a ton of damage. Oh my god, he's getting every connection you could hope for. Wait, they might still lose, unironically. I mean, they can't kill the Zerg right now. We do have a lot of tanks coming up here, but tanks obviously not the best against all these lings. He's going to try and micro down some of these lings with his vultures to get as much chip damage as he can as these tanks get up here. In the meantime, Hawk going to be taking a lot of damage. A second race shows up with this Reaver. The goons get cleaned up. They're coming back home. And can Gypsy kill Zero? I mean, if he kills Zero, then I think it's still fine for them. If he fails to kill him, I mean, he has so many tanks, actually. Gypsy's, like, really pumping a ton of tank right now. He does need to be careful about Reavers coming into his base, though. He is going to be the next target for the Reavers after Hawk gets finished off here, I would imagine. Gun's going to get up here, get a nice couple volleys here on the shuttle, get it very, very low. But it does look like Zero's going to be dead on this side of the map. I don't think he's going to be able to get enough lings out to clean this up. Especially with 4 more additional tanks coming in. And, I mean, there's like no way Bonnet is breaking out of this contain either. Okay, TT1 not fully in position with his goons right now, so the Reaver and Shuttle going to commit into the mineral line here. This is pretty much all in, though, from this Reaver. It looks like that shot is going to dud. Second shot going to go off and just hit the pylon, actually. So really nice cleanup there from TT1. And I think with that, I mean, we've got these 2 rays still working from Wolfix, going to be chipping away at these tanks. Here comes the big Lingswell, the Siege coming in right as the Lings get here. But it's not going to be enough, especially with those additional Goliath coming in, so it's about as good as they could have hoped for. And the Reaver going to continue to chip away at this army a little bit, but I don't see a way into this game. We have carriers on the way for Bonnet. So Bonnet just going back to his roots for going Reavers into carriers. But I don't think he's going to be able to hold long enough for these carriers to get out. But you see the difference? Okay, let's just talk about this for a second. You see the difference with... Oh my god. Alright, GG gonna be called. And NA gonna get this win. Honestly, really, really nice work from Gypsy. I feel like he hard carried that game. But I wanted to say, do you see the difference in mentality where it's like, when NA is losing or in a bad position, TT1 and Hawk are at each other's throats, and TT1 just leaves, right? He doesn't want to deal with it. He's like, this game sucks, we're behind, I'm out. Team Poland fought all the way to the end, and they started to make me believe just a little bit. Gypsy's the voice of reason. Honestly, I was worried that TT1 was going to leave, and I feel like Gypsy was even feeling it too, because he straight up told me, he was like, save your probes, I'm coming. It's like a, please don't quit. We can do this. Alright, coming into Game 5, and we got the double Terran roll now for Team Poland. This is actually absolute worst case scenario for Team Poland. I mean, it could be a little bit worse, but this is really bad for Poland. We'll talk about it here in a second. Let's do the intros real quick of who's who. Spawning here in the top left, we have Boneth, his teammate here at 3 o'clock. We have the other Terran player is going to be Zero, and Wolfix on Zerg here in the bottom right. 12 o'clock here, we have Hawk, Gypsy here at bottom left, and TT1 here as Protoss at 6 o'clock. Yeah, it's all random for the last game here. You only have gag sense, no game sense. So I'm gonna struggle a little bit, actually. I don't know why. There's like some sort of like mental collapse here I'm having with who's who. So Bonnet is gonna be top left shared with Hawk. I think it's these 2 colors being so similar is what's throwing me off. Voice chat is allowed, they just decided not to. But let me explain a little bit of what is so bad for Team Poland here. Like why this scenario is so bad. So you have a shared choke here, ZP. So this Protoss, if he had actually scouted early, like if you pylon scout, which you should be pylon scouting when you're against 3 random like this, if they got the information early, they see the Terran here, and he would be able to scout here and see that it's 2 Terran with a Zerg at his choke. This is the best possible scenario for you to go Dragoons. Like, Dragoons are unbelievably strong here, as 6 o'clock. And the other issue here is when you have 11 o'clock Terran versus 12 o'clock Protoss, or even vice versa, it is extremely hard to prevent yourself from getting cannoned in. So these guys aren't BGH players, so they probably don't think in this manner, but basically 12 o'clock is guaranteed to cannon block this player. Your Zerg would cancel their Zerg, you're going to get your cannons up and block him, and then you have goons out of the map, and you can like rush tech or whatever you want to do at 12 o'clock. Your Zerg can go straight into mutas, that kind of thing. So double Terran kind of automatically concedes map control for the beginning of the game. And it allows you to get contains and go into like any sort of fast tech or rushes or anything like that. But here we go. Ling's going to be coming straight into Zero. Zero does do this kind of awkward opener, so the Ling's going to get in here and potentially kill some early drones. Can at least force a pull here and kills one drone here. Sunken's going to be finishing up relatively soon. He's going to look to try to trade against these Lings and back off. So pretty decently timed there from Gypsy. Is this the first game that Hawk... No, Hawk was Protoss once as well. Alright, so he's actually going to go for cannon aggression. You can absolutely do this as well. My brain doesn't really personally go there, but it's completely fine to try this. This doesn't really work if Terran plays it correctly, at least not 1v1. But it does potentially open him up, so if you can like get him softened up enough that you can break open this wall, you absolutely just get to kill him outright. And when you see a lot of these like really ugly walls here from these players, gonna try and target down the depot here and just gonna bust straight in. This is a little bit dangerous. We actually got that vulture coming out as well for Bonnet. Does at least kill the depot, but yeah, you can't really commit there with all those SCVs there with the vulture. And in the meantime, Zero with one of the ugliest walls I've ever seen, but again, this is kind of expected to happen when these players don't play this map. I'm gonna go for this kind of forward bunker. I don't hate the thought process, but you gotta be able to protect the bunker, you know? Second cannon gonna finish up here for Hawk and start putting a lot of damage onto that bunker. And we haven't even started our tank yet because of us losing that depot, I think. Tank gonna be starting up now. And we did just mine enough gas to get what we needed. Bunkering backwards is absolutely what you do, and this cannon's not even in range of the bunker, actually, so they're not even going to be able to bust through it like that. And it's part of the problem. You have to do this like really slow creep with cannons to try and break through it. And if they just bunker backwards, it should be able to bust out. But here we go. The goons joining up with the cannons here as well. First tank is going to come out, but there's a lot of range DPS here, and we're very far from siege from both of these Terran players. I mean, Bonnet looks pretty safe, at least. Zero might be in a lot more trouble. Gonna lose both of these depots, and we're gonna have a pretty big supply block when that happens. We have no additional depots started behind this either. And in the meantime, we do have that Spire coming for Wolpix, which is about the best he can hope to do in this situation, but TTZ is one of the hardest combinations to play. It's very particular about how you need to play it. So it's not really surprising that these guys aren't entirely sure how to navigate it. It's very, very finicky. And Bonnet's going to be able to stabilize pretty well, but... Well, I don't know. Zero actually, you know, he managed to hold on to this depot. I really thought it was going to go down, and they're going to pivot and attack the Zerg now. He's going to have that 5 Sunkens up, which is part of what you have to do as Zerg here, is you make a lot of static defense. So, I mean, at the end of the day, both Terran players do survive. And there's no gas even here from Hawk yet still. So, question is, can Wolfix survive this push? If he survives, then I really like Team Poland's position, but it's going to be extremely difficult. He's going to lose these Sunkens on the left side, and even if he does survive from here, his goons are going to have a lot of ability to just kind of range him down and kill him. Spire does finish up. Gypsy's... This is Gypsy, right? Yeah, so Gypsy's Spire just about done. So he's not really going to be in danger of dying to the Muse or anything. He doesn't have to go for his own Evo chamber or anything like that. And yeah, these goons just going to kind of deny access to the left side of Wolfix's base. A Vulture does get in here, actually, for Bonnet. How did Bonnet's Vulture gets all the way down here and do a lot of damage here to Gypsy? And he's going to do whatever he can to keep this alive as best as he can. And this is super annoying for Gypsy. And we have these mutas. Oh, it's going to be Scourge. Scourge coming across the map instead of mutas. And they're going to commit to trying to eliminate, I feel like they're going to try to eliminate Wolfix and down. The mutas do get out. We just got to get them control grouped with an Overlord, which it looks like we did get. And manages to not lose any mutas there, so going to be able to clean this up. And I think Team Team NA going to be able to clean this game up pretty easily from here. Wolfix is going to go down, and we got double Terran now. Which, don't get me wrong, 2 strong Terrans absolutely can win from this position. Terran's mid game is super powerful if played really well. That being said, as much as I want to fake caster hype this, I don't think I can, guys. I mean, there's no gas still from Hawk. I don't know. Hawk's just cannons and zealots only. But yeah, this is part of the issue. We don't really have enough anti-air yet. These is going to clean up these tanks and delay this push even more, so Hawk not going to be in danger of dying yet. Wolfix does have a hatchery going down at Zero's front, for whatever that's worth. PT1 going to donate a few goons, but there's no threat coming out of either of the Terrans anymore. I mean, you know, Bonnet kind of went for this push, so this is only 2-factor, the SCV count extremely low, actually. And no range on these Goliath either. Here we go, a bunch of Zealots coming up with the goons here. The goons getting bugged because PT1 not completely looking at his army there, but pretty sure Bonnet is going to die. There's a lot of Protoss coming through here. We got some mines coming down. Going to drag a little bit through these SCVs and kill a lot of the SCVs. Goon's going to break through here, kill off this bunker. Muta's focusing down the tanks. And it looks like Bonnet is going to go down. Zero just now coming out of his base. But he's not going to be able to save him. Might go for some little bit of a counterattack. But there's really not much army here for Zero to really threaten the amount of Protoss that's out on the field. I mean, he has enough to beat this initial army, but... Hawk, you carried this game. TT1, NA kind of finding their camaraderie here in the final game. Now that they won a couple, they're friends again. But, overall, Team Poland is going to take the win, 3-2, but it's good for NA to win a couple games and kind of make a little bit of money there as well, right? So good by them, kind of finding their stride a little bit. And going to make the series 2-3 overall. And that's going to wrap it up here for our BGH Showmatch boys. I will once again link the Discord here. So this is the Discord where we are managing and running all of these challenges and events and things like that. We have a lot more stuff on the horizon. We're working on an anonymous tournament is going to be what's next. It's a 16-man tournament. We've already got all the signups for it. And just to break it down, what it's going to be is every player is going to be completely anonymous. Nobody's going to know who is who except for me. I'm going to be the only person that knows who is playing, or not even the viewers will know, not even the players will know. So we're going to go through the whole tournament with nobody knowing who's who. And at the end of the tournament, I will reveal the players. But we're going to have a little bit of a kind of a guessing thing for our viewers as well, where I'll show the 16 players that signed up once the tournament's over. And I'll allow people to send me like a DM on Discord to kind of guess who they think is who. And whoever gets the most, I'll actually give a little bit of prize money to the top 3 guesses. So I think that'll be something interactive and fun for the viewers as well. And we're going to be starting to set that up now that this is over. I'll probably make an announcement during the weekend and kind of start getting everything scheduled and let you guys know exactly what's going to happen. But if you enjoyed this kind of stuff, you enjoy the games, you enjoy this kind of like tournament content, event content, this kind of thing, then by all means join the Discord to try and keep up with things. I had a lot of fun. I think this was really fun to watch. It was kind of love the rage, the arguing. That's what we're here for, man. So hope you guys enjoyed the games. GG's, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.